right. Hello, health heads. Welcome and thank you for checking into this dose of the Healthcare Uprising. I'm your producer in the back, Jeremy Carr, here with your host in the front row, Heather Pierce. So, what's on our agenda for today, Heather?
We are continuing our very interesting and continually fascinating conversation around psychedelics. Primarily, we're going to focus on ketamine, but we're going to dabble into psilocybin. Maybe I'm doing them right now.
Don't do them before the show.
Psilocybin, ayahuasca with Dr. Dana Lerman of Skylight Psychedelics. So super excited for this combo.
Cool. Yeah. I learned a lot. I thought I knew what was going on in this space. Turns out I didn't. So yeah, very, very informative episode here if you're into this sort of stuff. So without further ado, here's our conversation with Dana Lerman from Skylight Psychedelic.
Hi, and welcome to the Healthcare Uprising podcast. Today we have Dr. Dana Lerman of Skylight Psychedelics with us on the show. Welcome, and glad to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Great. We're so excited to continue our conversations in psychedelics and ketamine. We've covered it a lot on the show from a lot of different perspectives. So super excited to talk about this. Let's just jump in. Tell us a little bit about your background, what Skylight Psychedelics is all about, kind of how you've got into the space. And when we have a chance after, you got to talk about Burning Man.
Yeah. One of my favorite topics. Happy
yes.
to. So I'm trained in internal medicine and infectious disease. I've been a physician since 2006. And during the pandemic, as an infectious disease doc, you can imagine I was quite busy. I ended up starting my own national COVID consulting practice and was helping companies stay open, doing business risk mitigation, doing national testing. And in the middle of the pandemic, I started to, as you can imagine, I got pretty burned out, and I wanted to do something else. I needed to do something else. And so I enrolled in a psychedelic assisted therapy training program. And in the beginning of that training program, Rick Doblin comes on and says, if you want to work with these medicines, you need to work with these medicines first. And that was the first time that anyone ever told me to go and do psychedelics. I had done psychedelics when I was younger, 16 years old, a lot of LSD, and then hadn't done anything until I was in my 40s as a physician and a mother of 3. So I listened to Rick Doblin, and I went down to Costa Rica and drank ayahuasca for four nights in a row, and came back from that experience, and it shifted everything in my life, every single thing. I left the field of infectious disease. I went into the field of psychedelic medicine, which I didn't even know was a field. And I ended up starting my own ketamine practice, a national ketamine consulting practice, Skylight. And at Skylight, what I do is I train therapists affordably and online in various different psychedelics, but specifically ketamine assisted therapy. And then I also prescribe for their clients, so across the country. And I only prescribe for the medicine to be consumed in their office. So I don't prescribe any at-home ketamine for various reasons. I think it's a liability, and I think it's not the most ideal situation or environment for a client.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, that's my kind of circuitous route to the psychedelic space right now.
I love it. Yeah, that's really cool. As you were telling that story too, I'm thinking of a friend of mine who I'm hoping she's going to agree to come on the show from our human stories. We do a whole human story series, and she has had a very similar experience to what you're describing, has gotten really deep into the psychedelics just for personal, right? Like not as a therapist. She's not a doctor, nothing like that. But I am watching it in front of me completely change her life. It's amazing. And I feel like everyone that's shared, even Jessica Tracy, who
we had
from
Jessica,
India.
Lee.
Yep. Gosh, so many people, they all say the same thing.
Our first episode ever was about ketamine therapy.
That's right. With Anthea, who actually Sherry connected us more or less. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
transformative for so many people. And one of the other reasons why I went into this space is besides, you could read all the articles and hear from the community about people doing it, but when you see it in your own best friend, like my best friend is a radiation oncologist, top of our medical school class, and developed pretty severe mental health issues, was on every kind of antidepressant you can think of, and ended up suicidal, wrote
mm,
me a suicide letter.
oh my gosh.
And we were able to get him to ketamine therapy. And after the fourth dose, he was no longer suicidal. And that's a
Wow.
real,
Amazing.
and that was 5 years ago.
That's such an amazing drug
Ugh, well,
It's,
sometimes.
I'm glad it's becoming more mainstream. I don't know if we can say mainstream quite yet. I'd love to hear your thoughts
um,
on that, but it's
yeah,
definitely
it's
been
getting
elevated.
closer.
Okay.
I mean, there's clinics everywhere now, right?
Hmm.
I mean, that's
Yeah, and
pretty
there are
mainstream to
clinics
me.
everywhere. It's like the Wild West, unfortunately, right now with
Yeah.
ketamine, right?
Uh,
It's like there are many different people who just open up a ketamine clinic because they see it as a way to make money, but there's a lot
mm,
that's being missed in those spaces and no real support for people, no real preparation. Just come in, get some ketamine, go on a journey and leave, no integration afterwards. And
Oh, yeah.
integration, I was going to say that's a critical
That's an
part.
important part.
critical piece. And it's,
Yeah.
ketamine, you can get benefit by going in and not having the preparation or the integration. Like it does still help people, but
Hmm.
there's a huge missed opportunity when people just go in without the preparation, go in without someone being in the room with them and helping them in that experience. And also obviously the lack of integration is a problem.
Wow. So with Skylight Psychedelics, how long have you had this practice then? Or
About
is
over
that the
four
right word?
years.
Okay, so
Yeah.
over 4 years. So you personally
Mhm.
provide therapy, ketamine assisted therapy, and then you do the training, you said, right, for others as well?
So I have a training platform. And
Okay.
then, so my primary practice is telemedicine. So I do a medical intake and evaluation for people, and then I will prescribe them the ketamine, send it to their home, and then they take it to their therapist's office. I also have a local
Oh.
practice where I do ketamine work with people in my office, but then they go and meet with their therapist afterwards.
Okay. Okay. So that was my second part of my question was going to be obviously you're a doctor. I mean, infectious disease, like, okay, that's like wild, right? That's crazy, crazy stuff. And
Yeah,
then are you an actual licensed therapist as well? It
I'm
like
not a therapist.
you aren't at all. Okay.
So
Yep,
Gotcha.
you're basically writing them the prescription, but they have to do the therapy with their own doctor.
correct, correct.
Got it. Which should be a given, right? Like that's how it should be handled.
Really
Okay.
Yeah, that
important.
sounds right to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have access to an actual good local ketamine clinic, that's a great
Yeah,
alternative.
a lot of the ketamine clinics, you can't go in, there's no one in there with you. A nurse comes
Yeah,
in, gives you the ketamine, hooks you up to a monitor, and leaves you alone. So
yeah,
it
yeah. I
Mm,
can
mean,
be traumatic for some people when there's no
yeah,
support.
there are
yeah.
good ones because Dr. Casey from Flagstaff here,
Revitalize. Yeah.
Revitalized
Yeah,
Clinic.
there are good ones where they have
Um,
people and
Hmm.
they have
they
support and
talk
they
to
like know
them.
what we're doing.
Yeah, they like do some therapy sessions with them first and make sure
Totally.
they're right for it, and then they give them the drug panel, and then they come back for another 6 to 8 sessions
Hmm.
with the therapist again.
Hmm.
So that's what you really need. You need to know what you're doing before you do it, so that you know how to take it,
Yeah.
and then you got to talk about it after, so you know how to use it.
And
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so you deal with ketamine only, or do you, that's it, right? Just, okay.
So I'm the medical director of a psilocybin healing facility that is coming here to Golden, Colorado this spring.
Ah, okay. So that's a
Wait,
little bit different.
they're
I don't
they
like the
have
word
psilocybin
facility.
clinics in
Take that
Colorado
back.
now?
Uh,
Yeah.
Is it
I didn't
legal?
even know that was a thing.
Yeah, we're fully licensed, fully legal.
When did it become legal? Because I feel like there's not that many states that it's legal, correct?
A
I
few
thought it was
years ago.
just Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Oh,
Oregon and Colorado. New Mexico
Oregon.
will probably be next.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
okay. Oh,
Hmm.
right next door.
It's
Yeah.
getting closer.
You-
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
our healing center that's coming to Golden, it's the name of it is called Entheogen with a ENTHEOGYN.
Okay.
And it's not your typical psilocybin healing center. It's a 7,000 square foot center
Oh my
with
gosh.
seven rooms for individual psilocybin sessions and then two group rooms. We also have a roof deck and we'll host community events and it's a real center.
Wow.
Wow. That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
pretty
I
proud to be a
I
part of
just
it.
got a little excited.
He's
You
like,
guys
I'll be
should come
right
check
This
it
is the
there.
best
out.
news. I mean, This is the best news I've heard in days.
Yeah. When are you opening?
Should be this spring.
This spring. Oh my gosh,
Awesome.
how exciting. Do you anticipate people coming from out of state to
Yes, for
Okay,
sure.
I would think
For
so,
sure.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have a large base here in Colorado,
Hmm.
and a lot of the founders are also from here with their own extensive networks, but we're all from Colorado, and well, three of us are from Colorado, one is from Mexico, but I have a through Skylight, I have a large network of therapists all over the country. So then they will be bringing clients here as well.
Okay.
Wow.
Before we go too far down the road into the psilocybin, I'm really glad you mentioned that. I do want to ask you a few questions about ketamine, though. I
Yeah,
still think,
sure.
there's a lot of people that just don't understand it, right? I
Hmm.
have a number of friends who have taken ket in various forms, by the way. One,
Hmm.
by the way, that takes it as a lozenge
Hmm.
at her therapist's office. And as I was hearing you say, the nurse comes in, does the IV, comes back. She's getting no support during those sessions.
Hmm.
And I'm like, she could probably use a more integrative approach.
Hmm.
Um, but I hadn't heard of the lozenge, the or however you describe it. I've only heard of like the IV,
Hmm.
obviously. That's done in like a clinic.
Hmm.
So what can you tell us a little bit about ketamine, how it's administered, the
Yeah.
differences maybe from one to another, and just like the overall values that people understand, like how life-changing it can be?
Yeah, for sure. Ketamine's an old medicine. It was initially used as a battlefield anesthetic. And so it's a dissociative medicine. And that's how it's different from the other psychedelic medicines is that it's can pretty consistently, especially at the higher doses, make you feel this feeling of being outside of your body or disconnected from your body, which isn't typical. It can happen on psilocybin or other psychedelics, but
Mhm.
that's kind of the main difference between ketamine and the others. One of the other differences is that ketamine typically lasts between 40 and 60 minutes.
Ah,
And
okay.
so, yeah, so it's relatively quick. The only one that's that's quicker than that is DMT. DMT is
Mm,
usually 5 to can be
mhm.
40-ish minutes for some people. Um, but ketamine there's various routes. So there's intravenous, there's intramuscular, there's intranasal, there's subcutaneous. There's different oral formulations. So a lozenge is one of
Mhm.
them. We have troches and we have rapid dissolving tablets. It can also be given per rectum.
Oh,
So I've never
Suppository.
prescribed that,
wow.
but that is another route that some providers actually do.
So just get it in there is all you gotta do. Just get it in
Yeah,
there.
needs. Yeah.
I wanted to tell you too. So my husband fell off of a roof and completely like destroyed his leg end of August, and they gave him ketamine when they went to go reset his leg,
Hmm.
which they had to reset it twice. And I saw him on ketamine, and he apparently very much entertained the ER staff while they had kicked me out for that.
That's pretty common.
Yeah, yeah, the security guards at the hospital, because he was there for 6 days, like remembered him, and they're like, "Your husband was like hilarious." I mean, he was like, it was wild.
Dude, he
Yeah.
told me kind of told me the story of what was in his brain when he was on that ketamine. He tripped
Hmm.
He still talks about
like
it.
he tripped
Yeah.
hard.
Hmm.
I think it's also a missed opportunity when they're using it in healthcare settings for those
Hmm.
specific reasons. You can also prepare someone for that experience a little bit differently or at all, right? There's not
Yeah.
a lot
Wow.
of preparation that happens when you're using it for
No,
something else.
definitely not. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty hilarious the stuff he was saying. But so ketamine's been around a long time. Now it's because so you got into this about 4 years ago. Obviously, like ketamine clinics and it
Mhm.
being administered for mental health has been occurring
Over
longer than
well over
that.
a decade. Yeah.
Okay, but now you're seeing obviously, I mean, you're in it all the time, seeing it. But what kind of changes has happened? Like, what have you seen change even the short amount of time that you've been in this space?
I think it's becoming more accepted. However, there's still a stigma. You hear like Special K, horse tranquilizer,
Mm.
rave drug, and
Hmm.
when people abuse things, that's what's going to happen. So, but as long as people are still receiving benefit from it and it is being used in a very specific way in therapist offices or medical clinics, then I think it's going to just keep growing and the stigma is going to ultimately continue to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tool, you know. If you use it right, you fix stuff. If you use it wrong, you break stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you could
It's a
really,
tool.
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, people can get hurt. People can abuse it. And I have
Yeah.
seen that.
Hmm. Do you find, and I'm sure that you probably, it's because it sounds like you meet with people nationally since you're telehealth, right? And you're also working with therapists, so I'm sure you've probably seen lots of different circumstances.
Hmm.
Have you found in your experience, are there certain conditions or circumstances that are really that you can really benefit from ketamine? Is there anything specific
Yeah,
that you
for
can call
sure.
out? Yeah.
I My favorite use is suicidality
Mm,
because it is a miracle medicine for people with suicidality. I've seen it help so many people. It is like it's night and day. I mean, I think of the suicidality as kind of like a thought loop, and ketamine is this like big golden scissor that goes in and cuts the loop. I've seen it so many times. It's really unreal, and it's unreal that it's not first line therapy for people who struggle with suicidality.
Yeah.
But in general, I think it's for the human condition, honestly.
mm,
I think,
okay.
stuff has happened to all of us. And many of us, when there's some sort of trauma, whatever it is, we just kind of lock it away and push it away. And then it manifests in all these different ways, right? OCD, PTSD, depression, all the things. But it's all just a manifestation of something that we don't want to look at
Yeah.
or can't get to.
Well, I mean, that's psychedelics in general, right?
Hmm.
It takes you out of yourself in a way that you start looking at yourself objectively,
Hmm.
and it just gives you such an like like a open perspective on your own problems can help so much.
Yeah, it's a deep introspective experience.
Yeah.
If you're working with it when you really like close down your eyes and you're focused inward, like you're not distracted by all the things around you, and you can actually go really deep inside yourself.
So ketamine is, and I'm thinking to and Thea obviously was sharing what they're doing and like building these networks
Hmm.
of the ketamine clinics, and I know they're starting to dabble into psilocybin, which we're going to talk about as that becomes legal in multiple states. But how do you see it from engaging like with clients' insurance, that sort of thing? Are most people paying out of pocket? Like,
Hmm.
have you seen anything happening there or kind of
Some
evolving?
some insurance companies are starting to get on board.
Hmm.
And then you have companies like Inthea, obviously, that are helping really bridge that gap and
Yep.
helping with, starting with employee benefits, which I think is huge and important.
Hmm.
Um, you know, s- it's all about education. It's all about education. You can have all the benefits, but if people don't really know what it is, then
Right.
it's not going to work. So it's everything really is about education, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And, you can have access to five different mental health therapy apps, and it's not going to change your life if
Mhm.
that's not what you need, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, and gosh, half the time, being an employee of a company for, many companies over the years, half the time, and I've worked in the employee benefits insurance space
Hmm.
even, people
Hmm.
don't even know what the hell benefits they do have.
Right.
And then they leave it so much on the table too.
Hmm.
So, and then
Oh,
companies just miss the mark and just offer the wrong things as well, depending on,
mm-hmm.
whatever their demographics are. So,
100% agree.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so ketamine's it's growing slowly, right? Like it's
Hmm.
maybe being more adopted, in this more mainstream kind of way.
Hmm.
Like, do you have any kind of like premonition of like how you're going to see it kind of grow and kind of blossom more, or any kind of, I don't know,
Yeah. I
writing
mean,
on the wall there?
what's starting to happen now is that the programs that are training therapists and universities are starting to implement psychedelic assisted therapy training. And so that's the way to get it to become more mainstream, and more therapists are offering it. More people are going to their therapist, then they learn about it from their therapist. That's obviously one way. I mean, the other ways that the thing that really needs to happen is that someone famous needs to come out and talk about how it's changed their life, and not the someone famous story of how they took too much ketamine and were in a bathtub and they got it illegally and they died or something. Like that is not helpful to the movement. That is helpful to the
Yeah.
stigma and the crap that we're all having to
Yeah.
hear. But
Like the
it's like, if,
abuse, right?
yeah,
Yep.
and we don't, it's important to hear about the abuse so we can help people to not get to that place, right? And that's part of why my model is you have to do it in your therapist's office.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your therapist reaches out and tells me that you didn't come to your visits, then I'm not going to prescribe you more ketamine like that. I'm not, a drug dealer.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. Who was the actor that all of a sudden was like, why can't I think his name from Friends?
I know from Friends.
Yeah.
Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry. Like that. I feel like when he died, right, drowned in his hot tub.
He had like 8 different drugs in his system.
He had so
Drunk in a hot tub.
and it
Like,
get
I
just
mean,
being
you don't
in a
do
hot tub to
ketamine in a
begin with
hot
can kill
tub.
you.
Like that's,
yeah,
I
like
don't
he
know
was
what to
being
tell you.
over prescribed. Like I mean,
Right.
there
But
was
if
just
he's
abuse
drunk,
happening.
if he's drunk in the hot tub, no one's going after the alcohol industry and trying to shut that
Right.
down. Right.
Right.
That can kill you just as easy as anything, being drunk in a
Yeah,
hot
I
tub.
mean, alcohol is way more dangerous in so many different ways. I think, and also I think the universe is waking up to that too, right? Because you're seeing like
Totally.
less people drinking, they're smoking weed or they're doing psychedelics, right? Like this is far more safer
Yeah.
Yeah,
than
and honestly, psychedelics for most people help with the craving of alcohol, and then they don't
Mm,
want to drink much. Like a lot of people who work with a lot of psychedelics don't drink any alcohol.
And that's another main application of ketamine, right? Is alcoholism. It actually helps
It
drunks stop drinking at a huge rate.
definitely can help you, and that's one of the things that happened with my friend who was suicidal. Also drank gin every day and
mm.
no more
Gin.
alcohol.
Oof.
So
Yeah. I mean, it has so much.
Gin is self-abuse to begin with. Oh,
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
rough one.
So ketamine. Okay. We're all here for it.
oh yeah. I've been here since episode 1 for the ketamine.
He's like, let's just talk about
Might
that
as well
all the
get
time. Um,
the psilocybin too, like
yeah, let's get into the
to
psilocybin
me,
a little bit.
that's my like I've known people curing themselves of things that just like headaches and PTSD and anxiety disorders of all kinds and for me, like I've used it as a medicine for decades now myself, and a small scale, but that's the one that like to me is the most miraculous, just because I've seen it in person, like what it can do in person more than anything else.
Yeah. So what you
Yes.
said about the facility, but yeah, tell us kind of a little bit about like what's happening there, like what's bubbling up around psilocybin right now.
It is all the rage here. Everyone is not everyone. A lot of people are, especially in the psychedelic space, and where I am, are very excited about it. I think that there's a lot in this community that really needs to be paid attention to, and especially around the indigenous voices and indigenous reciprocity and working with these medicines. And there's a lot in the training courses kind of like pushing this idea that this is a tool and this is just something else to have in your toolbox for a client. And like, we don't think of that like, this is not like that at all. This is psilocybin is a spirit, and it's an essence, and it's a plant being. And we're engaging with this medicine teacher that is ancient, right? And it's connecting us back to our knowing and our ability to remember who we are and why we're here and what we're doing and what happened to us, right? And
Wow.
it helps us to really shine a light on the shit that happened to us. Am I allowed to curse here? Sorry.
Yes, you are.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. We encourage it.
Yeah, it really shines a light on, our story and what happened, and are we caught up in the story? Like, so many of us just lead from this like narrative that, blaming all these other people. It's like, psilocybin is about forgiveness and moving on, and not just like dwelling in this story of what we think happened.
Mm.
Wow.
And so, but there's a lot, specifically around the indigenous, that there's this kind of erasure that's happening. And at Entheogen, we really are focused on indigenous voices. We have a whole indigenous council, an advisory council. Like, how can we minimize harm in this space? How can we not just be extractors and erasures of, their culture? I mean, they're the medicine keepers. How do we go to them to train us, right? Because you don't have to be an indigenous person from Mexico to help someone in a psilocybin ceremony, but you do have to know like where these medicines come from, and that you do have to know that you can cause harm if you're really not paying attention.
Wow.
I feel like we should connect you with We Are Healers.
Right?
They're trying to build an indigenous medical school.
They are. Yeah, they
Oh,
came on the
whoa.
show.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like full
Sign
on
me up.
indigenous medical school.
Yeah, my friend, she's in Colorado
I can
actually.
never remember
Mm.
people's names.
Yeah, she's the executive director. I should introduce you guys.
Oh, I'd love that. Thank you.
Yeah, she grew up on the Navajo reservation here in Arizona. So
Mm.
really great organization. We and being here in Flagstaff too, like we're so exposed to, at least here, Navajo
Mhm.
and Hopi indigenous cultures,
Mhm.
right? I know you're talking about like Mexico and even like probably Peru and Costa Rica,
Mhm.
right? And all these
All of them.
South American countries
Mhm.
too. So indigenous isn't just Native American for anyone listening. Like this is
Mhm.
beyond that. So
Mhm.
Or
yeah.
it's non-Western culture, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And I think that all of the indigenous medicine keepers, regardless of the medicine they're keeping, you can learn so much from them. Like I've learned so much about psilocybin space from ayahuasca ceremony, or like,
Mm,
they all have so much to offer,
hmm.
and yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's a really important piece that it's one thing to just talk about it in a training. It's another thing to actually incorporate it into what you're doing.
Hmm. Yeah, it just seems like anything I hear about around anyone using psilocybin for like whatever they're trying to treat, right? Like if it's mental health, if it's PTSD, if it's some kind of trauma. I've never heard anything bad. Not once. It's
Mm-hmm.
all success. It's all, oh my God, this has changed my life and I need more of it and I need to continue down this path and my shaman and and all
Mm-hmm.
this stuff. And it's sounds magical to me, quite honestly. And meanwhile, I'm like over here being super afraid of it because I had epilepsy for a long time, and so for good or for worse, when I was a teenager, when I probably would have been experimenting, I didn't because I was afraid everything was going to give me a seizure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
That's
that's
fair.
definitely a concern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like, and so I never tried any of it.
I
But
would not
now,
want to have a seizure on LSD. It would
no,
be a
No.
horrifying experience.
no, and I haven't had a seizure in 17 years, but like, it's still like a really scary thought for me because seizures are not, you don't want them. And I had really big ones, so.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so fascinated by this, and I've just seen it help so many people. And
Yeah, I have seen it help so many people as well. I think it is important to also know that, I mean, because of the amount of experiences that I know about in terms of psilocybin, it can be challenging and it can be dark and it can be
Mhm,
scary for some people. And, you know, it really speaks to the need for really appropriate preparation and support during and support afterwards, because medical things can happen, like so many different things can happen in the psilocybin ceremony, and you can really mitigate risk for people by doing like really appropriate work.
yeah. Wow. So you've got this the name of it, and say it one more time.
Entheogen. Entheogen.
Entheogen. So that's opening. You've got Skylight Psychedelics. I mentioned Burning Man. We need to talk about that. And I wanna ask you about the Earth Body Institute as well. Can you share a little bit about some of the work that you do at Burning Man?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I've been to Burning, I don't even know how many times, 4 or 5 times. And the last year, not this last year, but in 24, when I went with my dad's buddies, and they're great and I love them,
That's
but
cool.
they're awesome. But
Yeah.
we're just like me and my friends, I brought my medicine sisters to their camp, and they're like a group of 50 to 60-year-old, men and women who don't work with psychedelics. And so it was like this, but it wasn't a clash. Like they like welcomed us and we taught them about all these different things, and it was so beautiful. But I wanted to have my own peer support camp. Are you familiar with Zendo, the Zendo Project?
I'm not, no.
So Zendo is a nonprofit organization that works at many different festivals and events and offers peer support services. So you don't have to be on a psychedelic having a hard time. You can just be at the event having an emotional experience, and you come into the tent and they help you navigate this experience. and they're all trained people to work there. And so I've worked with the Zendo at Burning Man for 4 years. And then finally I was like, I wanted to have my own. I want to do my own thing. I wanted to be a little bit different than what they're offering. And so we formed a camp called Aya the Tiger, Aya like ayahuasca.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't serve ayahuasca at Burning Man, but we support people who are navigating challenging experiences. So Zendo is also at the burn, and we are also at the burn. And I'm sure there are other people doing similar things. But it's a really important service, and we were very busy there.
Yeah. Io the tiger. I love that.
Aya, AYA.
Or
Aya
Aya,
the
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Man,
Wow.
that almost sounds like something I should do.
I think we
Yeah.
should go next year.
I'm really good at
Yeah,
comforting
Aya,
people. Like that.
ayathethiger.org if you're interested in
Okay.
checking out what we do. And yeah, there's an
Yeah.
intake form if you want to join our camp.
Oh, very
Huh.
cool. We'll put that in the show notes. Um, so you've been doing that for 4 years.
So Eye of the Tiger was new on the playa last year. So this year will be we've already started planning for this year.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna have to. I have a few friends that go every single year. Now I'm gonna have to ask them and tell them where to go.
Yeah.
Hey, you
Yeah,
need to go.
yeah. One of the problems is that not a lot of people know that there are those services. Even Zendo's been there for so many years, and people don't even know that that's a resource.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. So you've got all these things. I want to like make sure we talk about all the things you have your hands into. Um, Tell me about your training and trauma. I'm reading this word for word, by the way, because I don't want to screw it up. Via ecotherapy with the Earth Body Institute. What does that even mean?
Yeah. So I felt a calling to do some ecotherapy work.
Mhm.
And I found the Earth Body Institute, and it's an online training course. I did it maybe 4 years ago. You meet once a week with a group, and it's about connecting to nature. It's about the dynamic of when you sit in a therapist's office and you're sitting across from each other, or you're sitting on Zoom. Like, that is a dynamic that people don't think about. It's very confrontational, right? And when you're walking with someone in the woods, it's a
Mhm.
totally different thing. You're side by side, like there's no hierarchy, or you're just together in nature. And so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of talking about cultural appropriation. There's a lot of talking about it sounds funny, but I don't really care. Introducing yourself to a tree, literally, like introducing yourself and asking this tree, like, can I come and sit by you? Like, is that okay? We don't like have that reciprocal relationship with nature. We're just like, oh, nature's here for us to just take, and we can go up to this tree and just pull a branch off and twiddle it in our fingers. Like, and I think when you drink ayahuasca also, that relationship with nature becomes much more obvious, that it is not there for you to just take from her. Like, it's a reciprocal relationship. And yeah, I think the Earth Body Institute was fabulous.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And then to meet other people who care about these things is also pretty great.
You know what's funny to me is like, so Jeremy, you're in good company, right? Like, and I think it's a lot of people here in Flagstaff. Like, we love being in nature. It's part of the reason why we live here. Same in Colorado.
That's the only reason to live in Flagstaff.
Like going out into nature, right? Like, it's right here. It's literally like at the end of my driveway. I border National Forest. Going for a walk in the woods, hiking. We do a lot of outdoor stuff here. I love going hiking by myself, just walking through the
And
woods.
I want to qualify that
People
as
do that.
people are going to think you sound fancy saying you border national forest.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Flagstaff border national
do.
forest because we're surrounded by it.
Yeah. Here, it's not that special.
It's not that special to do here. Like I'm in a old cheap rental house, and we're like a block from the forest.
Yeah. So like going out into nature for us is like such a normal thing that we do all the time. And we have that deep appreciation for it. We have that gratitude. We don't take it for advantage. I'm not saying that not everyone does, is that way, but it's like, I grew up in New Jersey, and I grew up kind of about 30 miles outside New York City. He's from Boston too. And like that whole outdoor nature loving thing wasn't how it is here.
Yeah, you couldn't do it there.
To explain this, like to my friends back east, they don't get it.
Yeah. I came to the Southwest because it has empty space.
Yeah.
There's no empty space in the Northeast. You can't
Yeah.
find it.
there's that lack of that deep kind of understanding and almost like empathy for the
Yeah.
nature around you. You know what I mean?
I
I
agree.
have
I'm from the
I
East
have
Coast.
talked to the desert. I have talked to the desert.
We're
Yeah.
like talking to trees.
I
We're like, that's
really
totally normal.
I have had
Yeah.
conversations with the desert.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smelling trees is a real thing too.
Oh, I love
Hmm.
smelling trees. The Ponderosa forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People say Flagstaff smells like
The
has three smells. It's vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry.
Hmm.
Because the Ponderosa trees, through their
Yep.
development, like the young ones and the mature ones, and then the old ones
Hmm.
have those different smells. So you can
Hmm.
actually walk through the forest smelling the trees to see
Yep.
which ones smell like vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry.
Yep. I'm so familiar.
That's a pastime here.
That's
I
real.
mean,
And it's true. I have smelled them all. I love smelling the trees here.
Hmm.
we're pretty lucky, you know, to
Yeah.
to live in the places that we live in and to, and
Mhm.
that the nature aspect, this kind of ecotherapy.
Hmm.
Hell, I've probably done quote unquote ecotherapy many, many times in my life because
Hmm.
that's what I do. I go outside and walk in the woods
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that clears my mind. Like,
Yeah.
and better than,
And
walking with
yeah,
a friend and just kind of talking and
I worked
Yeah.
for years as a tour guide, and that's what
Mhm.
my tours were. I was bringing people outdoors and relieving them of their stress just by being outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't
It's
call it that, but that's
unfortunate
what
that
it
not
was.
everyone has access to that.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them.
Yeah, it's tough living in the big city with no access to the outside, like the
Hmm.
actual like wilderness type areas, like get away from people and just breathe the air and hear the world. You
Hmm.
can't hear the world when you're in the city. All you hear is the city.
Hmm.
Right. I know. I'm planning a rage grief circle right now. We're gonna dig a hole in the ground and scream into it.
Oh my
Hmm.
God, when?
It's
Hmm.
only for women. Sorry, Jeremy.
Come on.
It's for my she wolves.
You're not going to invite menopause, man?
Maybe we'll
I'll
make
wear
an
the suit
exception. Yeah.
if you
I
make it first.
I'm on the board. It's not really a nonprofit, but not yet anyway, for a group called the She Wolf Project or She Wolf Collective for
Hmm.
mostly for women, femme identifying. And we do a lot of events and things like that just for connection and community. And we decided we needed to do a grief slash rage circle.
Hmm.
So we're going to do it this weekend. And we were like, let's go out in the woods and then we can like scream into the hole that
Hmm.
we dig into the ground, right? And then
Hmm.
bury it. So,
Yeah, it's transmuting it. It's, when we sit in ayahuasca ceremony, I'm sure as you know, there's a lot of purging and a lot of
mhm,
vomiting. And after the ceremony, you don't just go and throw your vomit in the toilet bowl. You give it to the earth and you
mhm.
transmute that energy. So I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a meaningful part of, I don't know, it's just the
Hmm.
whole thing. It's got to go somewhere, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all holds value and
Hmm.
meaning in some way. Um, yeah, so I'm excited for that. So, but anyway, sorry, I digressed into
What
my
were we talking about
my
again?
grief rage circle screaming into the
I
ground.
think we just went on 8 different tangents all of
We
a
do
sudden.
that around here.
That's what happens.
It does. It does. So, in terms of ketamine, to kind of bring this back around, we've
Mhm.
covered a lot of different things. We can see psilocybin starting to play a bigger role, right? Like, it feels like psilocybin's kind of like where ketamine kind of was early, what, maybe 10 years ago. And
Mhm.
so it will continue, hopefully, to grow. I feel like I hear a lot about microdosing psilocybin,
Mhm. Mhm.
especially.
Mhm.
So, a lot of interest in that.
Mhm.
Um, and my
Yeah, there's a
husband,
lot of microdosing of everything actually
well,
that's
yeah,
happening.
yeah.
So people
Microdosing is
are,
good, right?
I think if people have benefit from it and it's not hurting them, then I think why not,
Yeah,
right? As long as it's not hurting anybody.
right.
Um, yeah, I think that people can, I think so. Right now, what's happening in the ketamine community is that there is a lot of ketamine microdosing that's happening now.
Hmm.
And ketamine is not like psilocybin, right? So people are not getting addicted to psilocybin or LSD or yahe or the psychedelics that we work with, but people can get addicted to ketamine. And
Okay.
so in my medical opinion, I think that microdosing ketamine, there is a concern because what happens with ketamine is that there's a tolerance that develops and then you have to do more. So these companies that are giving people ketamine to microdose,
Hmm.
it's daily ketamine. how do
Oh,
you do daily ketamine and like drive your car? I don't know how any of this works, right? So,
okay.
and then you're requiring more and more ketamine, and then that has to increase the potential for addiction, and it
Mm-hmm.
has to increase the potential for adverse effects, right? Like when you do ketamine every day at a certain dose, you're going to be urinating blood. That's what happens for
Oh
people.
my gosh.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that, that's very unlikely to happen in a monitored medical setting when you're doing, X amount of ketamine sessions over a period of time. But when you're doing ketamine every day and then the dose starts to increase and increase, like you're going to see more issues.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's
Hmm.
what's happening in the ketamine
Yeah.
microdose world.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to know how to use it, right? Not, I mean, some things you're supposed to just do a bunch at once and then not do it again, right? I mean,
I mean, that's what,
it's
like LSD, like you can't do LSD back to back. The medicine won't let you do it. It doesn't
right.
work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
The lather effect sort of thing.
Yeah, LSD
And
is
like
one.
the ayahuasca, like you go do it for 4 days,
Mhm.
you don't do it again for,
Like
you
months.
don't go home and keep doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's, and all of these things, I think maybe the most important thing to call out here too is that the best way to do these, right, is with a guide, with a therapist, with integration, either in the front and the back end or both, right? And
Mhm.
to help you kind of understand the things that your mind is opening up to.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and which is what Skylight Psychedelics does, which all these the good ketamine clinics, right? The
Mhm.
therapists that you work with. And so I think that's maybe one of the things I want to make sure that we call attention to, as especially for anyone who's listening to this or has maybe been listening to a bunch of our shows on ketamine, right? And is starting to say, you know what, this actually sounds like something I want to do.
Mhm.
Or that could benefit me. Like just to know like those steps, those parts are really, really important. You don't want to.
Yeah, they're probably more important than the actual journey,
Mm, okay.
you know? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because your journey is going to be completely different without preparation, without preparation. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, when I went to my first ayahuasca ceremony, I really didn't have preparation, and I
Mm.
was decimated. Like, it's amazing that I went back the next day. Like, I was trying to leave and get out of there.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, it could be really dysregulating.
Hmm.
Sure.
Okay. Good to know
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
And I know we didn't really touch on ayahuasca very deeply, but it's come up here a number of times during our conversation. Um, and obviously it's like ketamine. Okay, that's becoming more common. Now you've got kind of psilocybin. What about ayahuasca? Or do you think it will always be really, I don't know, like you go to an ayahuasca retreat, that's a totally
Mhm.
different thing. It's not anything like ketamine or psilocybin. Did you
Right.
see anything around that and kind of what's going on in that space?
So what's happening with ayahuasca is that it's coming out of the jungle and it is
Hmm.
coming all over our country. And here in Colorado, DMT is decriminalized. So there are
Oh,
places
really?
that serve
Oh,
ayahuasca here. And
did not know
um,
that.
yeah, so that's there aren't like DMT clinics or anything like that,
Hmm.
but there are a lot of churches and places that are serving ayahuasca. It's a very different experience to have that here in downtown Denver, where there's sirens and you know
I wouldn't even
versus
want to do it personally. Like,
versus being
Right?
in the
I don't,
jungle and being in the
Hmm.
jungle where the medicine grows wild and where when you're with indigenous peoples that have been trained in this medicine to work with this medicine since they were 6 years old,
That's
and
crazy. Wow.
and yeah, it's a very different experience. Who you drink ayahuasca with is a very important is a very important thing to pay attention
Hmm.
to. How long have they been doing it,
Hmm.
and what's their lineage, and how do they, there's ayahuasca centers where you go and there's 100 people in the room.
Oh,
There's a
no.
hundred people in the room, and when you get a little unruly, they will hog tie you to a mattress.
Oh my
uh,
So
God. That's
okay.
kind of
yeah, and
contrary to the whole process.
people don't know to ask what happens if I get a little out of control, like when you have a huge ceremony like that, it's very difficult to manage that space. So small ceremonies with people
Wow.
who know what they're doing,
Hmm.
and their policy of that they're not going to tie you up.
Hmm.
Um, that's like an absolute last possible resort to do to somebody, because that's
Oh,
very traumatic when that
that's the
happens to them.
worst thing.
That sounds
Worst thing you can do to someone when they're in
it's
that state.
traumatic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to do that. So make sure you're attending an ayahuasca ceremony and participating in that ceremony with the right people doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah. Go to
100.
the right place. Like, go to the jungle, man. That's where it's supposed to be done. If you
Yeah.
want to, I mean, psychedelic mushrooms grow in the Rocky Mountains, I'm sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, do those there because they grow there. Like, do the
Mhm.
stuff that grows there. No matter where you are, you should stick with what's local as far as that stuff goes, because it's meant for
Yeah.
that. It's meant for that place.
This has made me think about something. Um, Ayahuasca, obviously, coming out of places like Mexico, South America, Central
Mhm.
America,
Mhm.
um, being a part of these indigenous cultures for, I mean,
Time out of
hundreds and thousands
Mhm.
of years, probably.
for
Mhm.
basically forever. We can just call it
So
forever.
it's like, oh, shiny new thing for us, right? Like us
Mhm.
Americans. But how, like, I wonder how do these, these people that have been trained, these shamans, these indigenous, whatever they
Mhm.
call themselves,
Medicine men.
medicine men, medicine women,
Mhm.
how do, gosh, I don't even know how to articulate this. Like, I'm almost like concerned for honoring
Mhm.
this as a very important part of their culture
Mhm.
and delivering this medicine. Like, how do
Like,
you,
we're taking the meaning out of it.
yeah, like, how do you put it out there without, I don't know, like shrinking it, right? Or like minimizing its meaning? Do you see that? I mean, like having a place with 100 people, like those people are taking advantage, right? Not the people
I-
attending, but the people running
Yeah,
it.
I mean, there are some ayahuasca ceremonies that happen in Colombia that are hundreds of people. It
Oh,
just
okay.
depends on the taita or the shaman who's leading that ceremony and what their style is, and
Hmm.
that might be, more acceptable for people who grew up in that lineage, right? And that's like
Okay.
the culture that they know,
Okay.
versus like an American person who goes down there and has no idea that that could possibly happen to them. And
Mm,
I think, I
yeah.
mean,
Mm.
the further the medicine goes away from its origin, the more adulterated and fucked up it's going to get, right? And who's holding that
Yeah.
space for the medicine, and do they honor the medicine like the indigenous do, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a
Exactly.
lot
Like,
of medicine workers do, but there's
okay.
a lot of stuff that goes on in the psychedelic space where there's ego. I mean, the taitas and the shamans are also human beings,
Hmm.
right? And so people put them on these pedestals and like bow down to them, but they're also doing shit that we do, like there's this like thing going, but like you have to look at them like, yes, they're taitas and they've grown up in this lineage, but they're also human beings. But like you have to vet them, and you can't, it's hard to vet them until you go. Like, yes, you can ask people in the community, you can ask your friends, other people who have gone there, but like until you go and have the experience and you feel like this is safe or this is not safe.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I've had a little trial and error in my days.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They're just, I feel like it's such like a sacred thing to,
Yeah.
to these people. And we don't need to like Kardashian the shit out of it, right?
Because
Like,
it,
because that's what people do. It's like
Yeah.
American culture. They're like, how can we whitewash this, or, like Kardashian it, as I like to call it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not smoking a cigarette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a ritual to it. There's a ceremony to it. And
Yeah.
Right.
if you don't go in with the right respect for what you're doing, you're not going to get
Exactly.
anything out of it
But
anyways.
that's the same thing that same reverence should be to the tobacco, right? Like
Mm,
that's the same
True.
thing
Yeah.
that happened to the tobacco,
You
that
ruined
that
it.
happened to
Yeah.
the
it's true.
coca is
Mm,
like, we don't want that to also happen to the ayahuasca. And we would like to reverse that damage that has been done to the tobacco, right? Tobacco is a sacred medicine.
that's true.
Yeah.
Coca is a sacred medicine. And look what,
And
you
now they're
know,
putting fentanyl and cocaine. Way to
look
ruin
what's
it for
happened to
everybody,
it.
guys.
Ugh,
Like indigenous people connect with the tobacco and talk to it and pray to it and engage with
right.
it. And indigenous people don't inhale tobacco. It's a
Hmm.
spirit. It doesn't want to be locked in your lungs. Don't
Hmm.
inhale it.
Right.
There's a whole world of stuff going on out there that is sad,
Yeah.
but people just need to
Yeah.
learn about it.
Yeah. Well. We're all about educating on this show. That's what we aim to do. So I think we've achieved that all around psychedelics today.
I
So
do like the psychedelic path when we get on back onto it. We've had a
It's
good
fun.
number of episodes on the playlist
fascinating.
at this point. which is
I'm
good.
just, I'm fascinated by it, and
Yeah, I had no idea there were psilocybin clinics coming to Colorado.
yeah,
That Oregon was the only place I knew of. It's so far away. Colorado's next door.
Colorado.
That's cool.
I know we go to Colorado all the time. So, in terms of ketamine, just to, I want to touch on that one more time before we
Mhm.
begin to wrap up, since that's really where you spend most of your time, at least from a professional perspective.
Mhm.
Like, what do you think's next for it? Do you think it's, do you just see it just kind of to continue grow slowly in the right way? Kind of what's your hope for ketamine and that kind of support for people?
My hope is that there are more guardrails around it.
Okay.
That there are, yeah, because doctors can just write a ketamine prescription. I mean, some of my friends have had their doctors write a ketamine prescription and nothing, like, oh, just go home and take this. No, nothing. No, don't drive a car, nothing.
Okay.
No, don't take
Wow.
this and go to work.
Ugh.
Okay.
So it's just their guardrails are really important.
And it's like,
And
because microdosing is like a fad, so they just want to microdose everything. But yeah, not everything's meant to be taken that way.
Mhm.
no, and and also like there's a whole recovery community out there that needs to, that is considering engaging with psychedelics and talk about guardrails. Like that community especially needs a lot of help in
Yeah.
that, because psychedelics can be very healing for them, but it can also be abused.
hmm
Addiction to a non-ordinary state of consciousness is a real thing that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And typically people who have addiction issues, they just replace it with another addiction anyway. So if you don't give them any guardrails, right? You don't put any kind of control around that
yeah,
it's really easy to fall into your next greatest addiction, right?
exactly. And
Yeah.
ketamine addiction is no joke. That is scary. I've seen it a few times and it's
hmm
like because you're engaging with literally other realms and you get these messages that tell you to do things.
hmm
Like, I mean, like run into the fire at Burning Man,
Oof.
Yeah.
that kind of thing,
Yeah. Don't do
right?
that. We don't want you to do that.
So,
Oh
Yeah.
there's a
boy.
Yeah.
spell and
Mm.
and I'm part of this or, and I have to, and I work for the astral and I'm, and I'm a chosen one and I'm someone who can do this work and not everybody can. And like, I've been chosen to, do this for humankind. Like that's the messaging that happens
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Wow.
when
can
you're
give you a
using.
God complex and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Remember, you're just a person, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're all
So
just a person.
having a guide, having a therapist, having somebody to help you integrate with those things is really important. So cannot
Yeah.
stress that enough.
And having an intention, like, why are you going? Why are you
Mm-hmm.
going to this medicine? Are you going to escape? Or are you going to like look inside of yourself and help yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Gotta have or make it productive, right? Like
Mhm.
needs to have utility almost to some
Yeah,
degree.
it needs purpose. I mean, listen, the
Purpose.
world of psychedelics and psychedelic healing, like there's no end. There's
Mm,
no end to like you work through your own stuff, your families, your generational trauma shit that you're carrying around, like, and then generations back, like there's no end to it.
mhm.
So like
Yeah.
you have to understand that and have to have an awareness around that and like why are you showing up? Why are you going there?
Yeah.
If you don't have an answer, you shouldn't be there.
Well, that's a great thought to end on, I think. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been just another wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the Healthcare Uprising. Make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons before you go, and take a moment to think of a friend and hit that share button. You can find us on all the major audio platforms, and we've got video on YouTube if you want to watch us in action.
You can also find us on social media on LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. Just search Healthcare Uprising to find us. And if you're a new company with a cool new product, if you're someone innovating alternative methods for the health and wellness space, or if you have a personal healthcare journey you'd like to share with us here at The Uprising, please email us at healthcareuprising@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you about coming on the show. Well, that's all for this dose of Healthcare Uprising. Until the next time, keep looking for the good in the world, because sometimes it's where you least expect it.
We are not doctors and we don't play one on TV. If you need medical advice, consult with your physician or a healthcare professional. This has been a Shut Up production.
Shut up!